process now started for quite some time now. Yeah, because I quite I'm paying for as we speak. Those who really were ever ready, no. I mean, we say more money, more. Yeah, but with the deputy communication director of Ghana Hajj Board, Hon.Alhaji Haruna, Muhammed, and yebetu yensa afredi and ebedi and komo on the line, so that we'll be able to give us up to speed what is happening with regards to this year's Hajj, the preparation and what went into the whole issue of the preparation. Yes, so on the line now we have Hon.Alhaji Haruna Muhammed. He's the Deputy Communication Director of Ghana's Pilgrimage Affairs. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
MashaAllah. Honorable, it's been a while.
Absolutely.
How is it? How is work?
Oh, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
We're managing.
Yes, you are live on Baraka FM 98.7 FM.
Okay.
So, can you really take us through, since you resumed office? You know, last year, many have their own reservation, but thankfully, when the Alhaji Tanko was called back, most of you have to come in and assist to make it workable. And we are seeing signs of progress, even though we've not really started airlifting our prospective programs. What can you tell us?
So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. I am extending my regards to your
Baraka FM.
Your good self. It's been a while indeed, as you rightly said. And I want to first of all thank His Excellency the President for appointing our leader, that is in the person of Honorable Alhaji Rauf Tanko and his team, for that matter, the board. Yeah. And anybody who is out there wholeheartedly to assist him get this year's 2026 Hajj pilgrimage successfully done. Hajj is a process.
Okay.
It's never an event. And so, if you recall, as you rightly said, previous years, how Hajj operations happened and what indeed really occurred. So we have pre and after.
Yeah.
And so people had their observations and reservations as to how, the operations, for that matter, last year and previously, organized. But this year, I must admit that, alhamdulillah, things have been so far smoothly. And we have first phase, second phase, and the third phase, which is the last phase, that is coming back to Ghana. So the first phase is the process. And I always say this, that Hajj Board, for that matter, is an interface between the pilgrims and Saudi Arabia. And so whatever happens here in Ghana at the board means that they are representing the voice in the directives of Saudi authority. And so we started by attending a conference organized annually by Saudi authority. And that is where you would go to get so much information regarding an operational guidelines for every year Hajj affairs. And so this year, when His Excellency appointed Alhaji Tanko, he first went to, Saudi Arabia, that is the conference. And when he returned, he had series of engagements with the stakeholders, including the chief imams, the ulamas, and all that. And so we arrived at a certain price, that is the fare, that this year's Hajj was going to cost 6,000 Ghana cedis, putting everything together. And so, given the fact that His Excellency, before he assumed office, he made certain promises that Ghanaian pilgrims were undergoing a series of challenges in, paying for Hajj. And so from 75,000 Ghana cedis was brought to 62,000. And then this year is 60,000. So upon consultation, that is how, we arrived at 60,000 Ghana cedis for this year's Hajj. Now, from there, people started paying. And so we got to a point where we needed to stop and then announce to the people that, look, the quota that we had, given the fact that we don't want to oversubscribe, like it does happen previous years. And so we needed to put a cap that when we get to this, we needed to close that. So we closed it. We announced to the general public.
Baraka FM.
Another directive came that this year, in view of what normally happens in Saudi Arabia, where people would die and you don't know where they are coming from, where people would have certain ailments and you don't know before they arrive. And so it always be a case where people are taken by event or surprise, sicknesses emerges and all that. So they put all this together and then said that this year's Hajj, anybody who is embarking this year's pilgrimage, you need a health certificate to indicate what kind of sickness or what kind of health status that you are coming in with. And so they gave us a directive and then asked that we screened every prospective pilgrim and update them the health status of everybody before they can allow anybody to, enter Saudi Arabia. And so we did that. We announced that and successfully we got everybody who intends to perform this year's Hajj screened and then give a certain health certificate to
Baraka FM
for the visa processing, which is what we have done. And so, like I indicated, it's a process. So we started by announcing the fare, and then we ended the quota, and then we went into the health screening. We got that successfully done. Now, there's another directive, which is that every year, previously, every Hujjaj, every pilgrim used to do their own sacrifice. So Saudi authority again issued a directive that this year sacrifice, the Saudi authority will do that on behalf of all pilgrims across the world, not only Ghana. And then asked how much we were supposed to pay, which is about $200. So we communicated that again. We had series of engagement with the stakeholders as well. And then this is how it came up that, okay, if you are paying to your agent, pay to the agent will then pay to the Hajj board like you normally do when it comes to the Hajj fares. So you pay $200 to your agent would onward pay to Hajj for Hajj authorities to pay to Saudi authorities. So that is what happened. And we also look at how we can get everybody to at least get to appreciate what's, so far what we have done. We engage media, we engage other stakeholders, we speak to people who matter, we invite people whoever want information, like you did. You call for any other update, which is what we continue to do, just to make sure that this year
Baraka FM
is done successfully without any challenges. So, Alhaji, if you want to have an update on what so far, as we speak, visas have started coming, and it has never happened. I say this because Saudi authority has made it clear to all countries that they would want people to have their visas, okay, prior to your departure. 1 month or 2 weeks prior to your departure. So gone are the days where people will come to the village without knowing whether they are living today or not. You are going to be aware that tomorrow or tomorrow next, I am embarking on this spiritual journey, and then you are able to prepare ahead of time. You know your schedule. It has never happened where today, as we speak, you know when the first flight is leaving and you know when you are returning. So we have had all this, taken into account of the previous activities that did not somehow go well or sit well with Hujjaj. And so we took this into account and decide to do things ahead of time. That is even by the directives of the Saudi authorities. The Hajj board couldn't have done this without, Saudi's involvement. For example, the Hajj board doesn't issue visas. And so even if you are done as early as you wanted, they are not able to issue you visas. But because it is in line with their directives, you have to follow. For example, they gave us up to the end of March, we should submit all passports. Surprisingly, to our dismay, they came back to issue another directive 2 weeks to the end of the month that we should submit every passport for visa, which again sparked certain, rush for people who are not even aware. If you follow the page, we issued out a deadline, which was on the 17th of March, that every intended pilgrim should submit his or her passport for visa. And that is how Saudi authority works. They will sit down and then plan. And this is because other countries are every time ahead of Africa. They get to prepare themselves ahead of time. And so when they are issuing the directives, they are looking at every country to be same. For example, Indonesia has a lot of people waiting to embark on pilgrimage. Ahead of time, they pay. For like 10 years, people are still in queue waiting for their turn. Other countries like Malaysia and the likes. So people pay ahead of time. But unlike Ghana, so if you pay, your passport is ready. But in Ghana, you see people going to pay for Hajj without passports. They don't have the passports. You understand? So when you are asked to bring your passport for visa, then it becomes an issue. And so we tried this year to make sure that anybody who wants to perform Hajj gets the passport ahead of time. And fortunately, a little pocket of issues concerning people who didn't have passport early had issues with the Muassasa platform, that is the Nusuk. Because if you look at what the Nusuk platform is, every country in the world is on that platform trying to submit their passport before the schedule. And so if they ask you to bring your passport this particular day and you fail, probably you will come late and you are not able to get the platform or the attention of the platform, which certainly will become an issue. So people are now getting to appreciate the fact that it is not always the case that when they say we have opened for payment, you will relax till after Ramadan, then you start to pay. So if you notice that we issued or we opened for payment somewhere in October, and then in January we closed it. It was not deliberate. It was not because we just want to know. It was the directives coming from Saudi authority indicating how this year's operations would look like. So we were all rushed, and it is not only Ghana, it is across globe. If you follow Nigeria carefully, Nigerians are still doing the American screening now, simply because they delayed and they were locked out completely. It took the president's intervention before the Saudi authority opened the platform for them. So they are even late. So it tells you that it is not only Ghana, but it's across the globe, that if they ask you to do A and you delay, you will move to B at a later part, if that is, you are lucky. And so Ghanaians cooperated so well. We appreciate the fact that, look, when we issued the directives, a lot of people heard it and passed on the information, and we were able to do this submission as early as possible. Inshallah, as we speak, if not all, but more than 90% of the visas are out, if not all. And so anybody who is embarking on this year's Hajj would have known that, yes, I am leaving on this day and I'm returning on this day. Inshallah, so far so good, and that is where we are today.
Our fathers and uncles who went on Umrah and could not really return. I mean, bringing the issue of Bongo, even though I know this time we will not even encounter such things. You being the helm of affairs now, what can you tell us in terms of measures taken by Saudi Arabia against this particular menace?
Yeah, so Saudi Arabia has done so much research on how to kind of mitigate this, annual pressures from these people who try to use an approved route to perform Hajj.
Yeah.
And I think that it is for a reason, one of the reasons why they introduced
Baraka
medical screening.
Okay.
Somewhere 2023, the report indicated that over 3,050 people lost their lives. And out of that, about 87% were the people who came through an approved route. That is how the research said. And if you go detailed into the causes of it, it was out of heat exhaustion. A lot of people died out of heat exhaustion. And then the people who died out of heat exhaustion, majority, as I indicated, were people from the Bongo, we call them. And so they tried to see, and all these people had issues of identification. Where were they coming from? How did they get to the country, and all that were taken into consideration. And so they introduced these particular reasons into being, where people should be able to know their status before coming. Now, when they did the analysis, they realized that a lot of people had underlying conditions. And so when you come and there's so much heat,
Baraka FM,
you lose your life easily.
Yeah.
And so they took this into account to initiate this process for everybody to know their status. Now, this is how it's going to reveal to people who are coming through the Bongo, because your blood group is captured, the country is captured, your age is captured, your name is captured, the country you're coming from is captured, the people, the contact people, the country address, like Ghanaian authorities.
Baraka FM.
ID card.
Yeah.
That if you are there, and then you are performing Hajj, and they scan you, they will get to see every intestine that is on your body. You understand?
Yeah.
So, if, for example, you are not coming from Ghana, and then you are wearing a tag from Ghana, when they screen you, or when they scan you, they get to know where you are coming from, and then they will know you are not even a Ghanaian. The same way, if in case you have an issue and you are taken to hospital, or you are lost, you are able to be identified. And then they would get to know your health status and why you are at the hospital. And then they can get to identify who brought you and take you to the authority for onward, treatment, and for that matter, getting you back safely to your country. And so this year, the Bongo, as if you followed the Saudi authorities platform, you realize that by 18th of this month, if you have no visa, Hajj visa, you are not allowed to enter Saudi Arabia. Then you are not again allowed to enter Makkah if you don't have Hajj visa. Now, all borders will be scanned. Anybody who is coming in will be scanned before you enter. So right now, what they are trying to do is that if you are there with Umrah visa or tourist visa in Mecca, after 18th, before the arrival of Hajj pilgrims, everybody will be scanned. Everybody who is in Mecca will be screened. And if you realize, or if you have this information last year and last 2 years, a lot of people who went through Bongo had it hell time to even perform Hajj, especially last year. And so people have had challenges this year based on others' experience. And Alhaji, let me draw this attention and make this clear to people.
Okay.
Last year, people who went to perform Hajj illegally and were caught, some of them started coming. Last 2 weeks, I was at the airport to receive one of them. By the intervention of our chairman, by getting one of them, the two of them, lawyers, to stand in for them for the bail, and then other help that we could give. Otherwise, this woman who is over 60 years was going to go to jail for life. Now, this woman, biometrics have been taken, and it will take her over 15 years to be able to go back to Saudi Arabia. And so, if you go through this
Baraka FM,
you can imagine the consequences. again, a lot of people decided to take this unapproved route simply because they were not able to afford. Because it was so much, according to them, 75,000 Ghana cedis. That was how much you were supposed to pay before you are able to perform Hajj. Aside that, you would have had some chap money and then other, facilities that you would have to procure.
Yes.
And so those things accounted or amounted to pressures that resulted into taking an approved route. Now it's 60,000, my brother. So if you decide to go there unapproved route and then the consequences are dire, who would you blame? And that is why I started by thanking His Excellency the President by walking his promise, fulfilling the promises of, reducing the Hajj fares from 75,000 to 60,000.
Yeah.
So making it affordable for everybody who wants to perform Hajj, or for anybody who wants to sponsor his or her relatives to perform Hajj. And so there's no pressure, there's no need for anybody to spend close to 60,000 and going unapproved route. You are not able to perform Hajj conducively with 40,000. You are not. You understand?
Yeah.
And given the fact that people died out of heat exhaustion, and
Baraka FM.
You know how it is.
Yeah.
You are not independent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You cannot walk freely.
Yeah.
You are hiding to perform Hajj. And we all know Hajj is a calling. So if, for example, you are not called and you want to go on approved route, imagine you have nowhere to sleep. Imagine you have no tent in Mina.
You're exposed to the weather.
No tent in, and you are exposed to this heat.
Yeah.
So what will happen if you have underlying conditions? You would die out of heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And so there are series of measures that Saudi authorities have taken this year to make sure that anybody who attempts to go through the Bongo, that is an approved route, and you are caught, the consequences would be unbearable for anybody. And so for us, we're looking at how we can at least speak to the people who would reason with the fact that the prices have come down, who will reason with the fact that Hajj is a calling, who will reason with the fact that you have no business performing Hajj if you are not capable. Yeah. And so God knows your ability and capabilities. If you can afford, He knows. If you are not able to afford, He knows. And so we, as the authority, picked to oversee the activities of this year's Hajj, would appeal to anybody that nobody should decide whatsoever, or nobody should decide to take this, unpaid adventure, you understand, to perform Hajj when indeed you are able to afford. Again, you're looking at this year and the quota that we have. It is because that we are not able to exhaust the previous quotas that we always given. And that is why it is necessary that if you have a quota, let's say 6,000, and you decide to go an approved route, and the quota is not met, they are going to reduce it. And when we reduce it, bear in mind that people who are able to afford will not be able to go. Simply because we decide to take an approved route when you have a quota to go through. Yeah. So we tell people the consequences of what? Your action by making people take advantage the fact that you want to make money out of whatever activities they indulge in. So this is where we are as board, and this is where we are as a country, that we have exhausted our quota. We are now waiting for the second phase, which is the lifting of the pilgrims. As we speak, the stakeholders have started, putting their heads together and seeing how, the operations from Tamale would go smoothly, and then would come to Accra for the final airlift.
Yeah. So does it mean that one other challenges that we have observed over the years has to do with that affect your work as managers of the Hajj? The issue of protocol. If you have been able to exhaust your quota, does it mean that all those things were also taken into consideration Because you'll be there
yes.
quite often. We said, oh, Minister A has come. Oh, this one is coming from the presidency. Then it makes your job very, very tough. I don't know whether this year you have been able to put all together to make up the quota.
Alhamdulillah. Like I indicated earlier on,
Baraka FM.
everybody performing Hajj is taken care of.
Yeah.
Whether government is paying for you,
Okay.
that is the special arrangement that we call protocol,
Protocol, yeah.
or individual sponsorship, or whoever is taking. Once you are a pilgrim, okay, you are taken care of.
Okay.
And so we are working with the quota. So the quota for this year is almost 6,000.
6,000. Okay.
Now, so the 6,000, whoever pays is part of the 6,000. So the government pay for example, 2,000 or 1,000 or 500. They are part of it.
Okay.
Whether protocol or what have you, everybody is factored in the quota. And so when we were doing, we get the government informed.
Okay.
The government want to take people. They pay. The government will come and say, okay, I've paid for these people. They are part of, even though we call them protocol, but they are paid. You understand?
Yeah.
The difference is just that government is paying for that people.
Yeah.
And so you cannot say that when we are giving directives, the protocols are not part.
Okay.
The protocols are even they're also paying for the sacrifice.
Yeah.
You get it?
Yeah.
So the process covers everybody in the quota. Whoever is coming through the Hajj board is part of the quota, is part of the process, and whatever the paid pilgrims, sponsored pilgrim, whoever, will be treated same and equal, justice is given to everybody who is going through the Hajj board. Yes.
So as we speak now, do you have your schedules for the flight arrangements? How many in Accra and how many in Tamale?
Yes, so they are still working on it.
Okay.
But I do know that we have a provisional, schedule, which is going to start in the first week of May, inshallah, in Tamale.
Okay, first week of May.
First week of May. That is, even if we are going to go by the provisional that we have now, it's going to be 1st May. We shall have our first flight in Tamale, inshallah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So before you go, once again, what medium do you use? Do you use the agent, and how do you reach out to prospective pilgrims for any other maybe dissemination of information? Is it personal? Is it text? Is it voice message? How do you call it? Engage the whole be pilgrims, because sometimes we would have some prospective pilgrims who come when the flight is already gone. Maybe the person is supposed to be in flight A, but yet he comes when flight B is now how do you call it, preparing to move. So I don't know, how do you communicate with the prospective pilgrims?
Yeah, so Hajj board has accredited agents that we work with.
Baraka FM.
You have a permit to deal with the society who or prospective pilgrims. Whatever information that we need to chain out, the stakeholders are mostly informed first.
Okay.
And then they onward disseminate the information to the relevant people. Now, we, as I indicated earlier, the board itself is an agent.
Okay.
And that is people who decide to pay direct to the agent, to the board.
Yeah.
We have somebody at the board who is responsible for such people.
Okay.
So if there's any information, that rep would make sure that he gets that information disseminated accordingly. And then we have the accredited agents, and they are also independent body.
Okay.
And then there are leaders, which is, they also have leadership. Their leaders are always represent them. And the interest of the board is, the agent association is served. Now, if there's any stakeholder engagement, they are parts. So they have first-hand information.
Okay.
And so after that, they get to disseminate the information to their colleagues. And I believe they have a platform. They disseminate it for onward public consumption. Again, we have international stakeholders that you also deal with. And those agents are people who are in diaspora, would always want their informations be given.
Okay.
And so you have people, and we have, that is the social media platforms that the international, stakeholders will always rely on. And that is, if you are a pilgrim and you are outside the country, you can always follow the Facebook page or the TikTok page of that's the official page of the Hajj board. And that is where you get your information from. And so these are the channels that we normally use. And of course, you people, the media, key stakeholders, you are part of it. And if there is any dissemination or information, we pass it through you, and then the public will get the information. So inshallah, every information that we always, give out, we get the positive results.
I can't really recollect the year, but there was a year that we had a publication of will-be programs, I think, in the dailies. I don't know whether it's something that maybe your administration will also consider. Why? Because you remember, is it last year or last 2 years where we had reported somebody has passed away and the person has not passed away yet. Later on, the person came, returned. So can we have something like that, maybe publication in daily or something?
I don't really get the question well.
The question I'm asking is maybe there will be programs that will be airlifted to the Saudi Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Can we have maybe the publication, maybe in the Ghanaian Times and the Daily Graphic, the number of programs, maybe from Kumasi, first flight, these are the number of people, their names and what. I don't know whether it's something like something that you might be considering. Because there was a year we had something like that. I can't remember which year exactly.
Yes, so it has always been so that the number of flights, and the number of passengers that the flights always take. For example, you have 450 flight capacity that mostly we take. We have the biggest one, which is the Lion, that mostly take like 500. So each flight and its capacity. And so we normally update the people that this year we have about 6,000. And Tamale, for example, we are using 8 flights. And then in Accra, we have 7. Now, if you have, if each flight that's a day that we're doing in Tamale, save the 450. So you get to know the number of flights that is moving by the number of people on board. You are able to tell this region you have about 3,000 moving from Tamale. And then you come to Accra, you have about 2,000 something moving from Accra to, So we normally do that. We publish the airline, the capacity and all that. So people get to follow, you understand. But it is not like as if you want the general public to always follow and know the number of pilgrims that you have on board. But at the end of the day, you get to tell the number of people that were airlifted from Tamale to the Kingdom of. That is when the Tamale operations is over. And then you come to Accra. At the end of the day, you also give out again that, we have this number of people being airlifted from Accra to Saudi Arabia, totaling this amount of people that we have airlifted to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. That is what mostly we normally do.
I think our time is exhausted, so I would end it here. Maybe if there is something you want to add, then maybe later on we'll be looking at the medical side, like we said, the screening and all the specific issues that comes out of accommodation and all that. We'll be looking at that maybe later on. But for today, I think this is what time will allow us. If you have any advice for will-be programs and families.
I just want to thank you so much for having me, and I also want to use this opportunity to remind the general public that even though we are hearing that there's that war between Israel,
Baraka FM,
Israel and Iran. And people have been speculating that this year's Hajj will not come on. I want to state it emphatically clear that we haven't had any directives from the Saudi Arabia talking about the cancellation or possibility of not having this year's Hajj. So everybody who have paid and everyone who intends to perform Hajj this year should continue his or her preparation towards, this year's pilgrimage. That inshallah, by the grace of Allah, we would have that happen in peace, in faith, and return, alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
Inshallah, we have people who have also been advised that the sacrifice is $200, and it is not coming from the board.
Okay.
The board has not charged anybody $200. It is Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
It is Saudi Arabia who has charged people to pay.
Yeah.
And it is mandatory.
Yeah.
They have tied it to the visa. That is where they can get you paid.
Yeah.
So people who think that the board is coming to milk or put undue pressure on pilgrims, no, it is not. The board doesn't have that authority whatsoever to charge fees and decide to do whatever with the money. No. And like I indicated earlier on, the board itself is an interface. It is an agent for the Saudi Ministry of Saudi Hajj. So whatever they tell us is what we do. You cannot also impose anything on the Ghanaian without any prior notice from the Saudi authority. And so whatever we always say, whatever we tell the people, like I indicated, the agents are the interface. The agents are also stakeholders. Yeah. They always discuss this with the agents, and then the agents would come and speak on behalf of the board. Yeah. And so if you hear people talking about that, the Hajj board has unduly charged fees that are not supposed to be, it's a lie, and it is not true. They should always seek, views and information from the board if you have any doubt or if you have some shred of information that is untrue about the board. You have every right to come and ask or call for clarification. So I urge everybody who is performing Hajj this year to go to Ghana Hajj at Ghana Commercial Bank, or you go and pay to your agent. Yeah. That is how it is. You are supposed to pay to your agent. The agent will come and pay on your behalf. But if you are a direct agent, if you are a direct pilgrim, people who have paid to Hajj board
directly,
you go back directly, go again and pay directly, and bring the receipt for onward processing. The money is going straight to Saudi Arabia for the Saudi authority to do the sacrifice for you. And they have their reasons why they did that. It is not the board who did all this, but they also charge a riyas. But you are not getting the riyas here. You are not spending dollar here. You are spending cedis. And that is why that money was converted into Ghana cedis.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you very much. It's been insightful and it's been educative. That's Hon.Alhaji Haruna Muhammed. He's the Deputy Communication Director of the Ghana Hajj Board. He's been giving us updates with regards to the preparation towards this year's Hajj, as we are anticipating that he's going to be inshallah successful, and then we are praying that the war between Iran and United States and Israel on the other hand, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will touch their hearts for everything peace to prevail. Thanks so much. Inshallah we'll be get in touch again as and when. Inshallah.
So much
all right.
Thank you so much.
So Tifo, we the bompire say nimdia odi mai with regards to the air course no munyina amati fa is quite a so atimianya a very very solemn religious duty in the kingdom. Ya bompire say nyankopon ebema na baso sa pepepe ntino ahana ene nyankopon ebema emre na ye de adwumadi no adi esi asen when inshallah ebebo modiana yasa to yensa afremo na especially the communication department in kwano mo katwin so ho ebebo modiana said embe professor kwa yes ntino mo de akoy brofo de mo fanche na inshallah appropriately ebetimi anya some of them who are communicators who can communicate effectively in the Akan language as well. Intina hana da enye ejumadi adi bremo adi chimunshira no nyankopon ayadom yedi besi nyankopon edi che nso a ochina yedi nhye foforo edi bebremo ntiru then on behalf of the entire crew, we need about the Fatah you see me kase Continue to listen to Baraka 98.7 FM, the station with the blessing. Aha, ene nshirano ntimungusu na muntie Baraka 98.7 FM. Up next, Papa P ejuma ni NJ.